What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, we'll break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about some important news involving the market that's going to be coming out very soon, and break down something very interesting going on SPY and a couple of other tickers. But before I break anything down about all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon and ends in just about 6 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, guys, look at the market. You had a very, very interesting day. In my video from yesterday, I talked about how there should be a bounce coming to the markets, and this bounce happened during the pre-market, but it wasn't really sustainable because the market ended up selling off very hard after that. So it wasn't what I was expecting. And then in the morning, I released another video that said I'm going to likely see a drop, then a pop and chop in the market. So very, very interesting stuff. And what ended up happening was we did get a drop, but it dropped way lower than what I was expecting, to be honest with you. And then upon this drop right over here, we formed an inverse head and shoulders. So we did get a nice pop after that. The market came right back up. It's currently getting very close to 448 at our 200 EMA. And now it's getting very close to that. So we're going to like to see the market shop around a bit for the end of the day as well. But it is trying to hold up and get very close to this EMA at this 448 level. So the market's trying to do this. A little similar to what I was predicting, not necessarily the same, because it did drop a lot lower than what I was expecting. I was hoping SPY would be a lot stronger than how strong it actually was. So it wasn't really a good day so far. For the bulls, the market saw quite a bit of downside to start us off, but is trying to make a comeback right now. But I want to break down something else that's very important about this, because you have to remember that we have CPI coming out for tomorrow. And my warning for everyone in this video is going to be that you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's very, very unpredictable. If CPI is too hot, the market could get another rug pull and come down even lower than the low we saw today. If CPI is decent, the market could get a very, very nice bounce. But looking at the current setup on SPY, this is what we're seeing. We're actually forming this falling wedge-like pattern, but that does not guarantee that the market's going to rip to the upside because of CPI. There are two possibilities I'm eyeing right now. I'm going to share them with you in just a minute. I'm going to actually find the right tool for now. I'm going to use this. What could happen is the market makes its way up here, but then let's just say CPI comes down and it's really bad. CPI is still too hot and the market doesn't like it. We could see the market get a rug pull again all the way back down to 444 and then try to get a bounce like this and just continue to downtrend and remain weak for the remainder of the week and get very, very close to that 442 level to fill the next gap way down there. That is one possibility before some kind of like bounce next week or like this. That would be like the more bearish case for more potential downside. This is very, very possible if we get a bad CPI and the market ends up dropping. But what if we get a good CPI? What if CPI is still decent and we end up meeting expectations? There's a possibility the market could do something like this and just start to break out to the upside, get a very, very bullish break from the falling wedge. That's another possibility. All right, so each of these are equally possible. The bullish case and the bearish case are both possible for the markets. All right, I don't know what's going to happen with CPI. It's going to come out 1 hour before the market opens tomorrow. We're expecting core CPI to be at 4.8%. So we're actually expecting, a slight increase. We're not expecting it to be as low as what we saw from before. And this is going to be very important. For year over year, we want inflation to be at around 3%. So we're hoping we get some number like this. Okay, it's going to be very important we meet expectations. If it's too hot on either end, the market's going to get a rug pull. If not, once again, the market still has potential to bounce. So I'm eyeing these two possibilities from this falling wedge-like pattern developing on SPY. Are we going to break out or are we going to stay in it? We'll find out tomorrow depending on CPI. I don't know what's going to happen. You guys don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody truly knows unless you're like some kind of insider or something like that. But we're most likely not, at least if you're watching this video. And my point is, now that you don't know what's going to happen, be very careful. There's nothing wrong with securing most profits. There's nothing wrong with trying to manage risks and to be very careful. And please be aware of that and do what you have to do. Now, anyways, looking back at the markets, for SPY, we're getting very close to our 448.25 area. This is very close to our 200 EMA. So we're going to be watching this 448 test right now. We're getting very close to it. We are looking more bullish. We had a very, very similar setup as yesterday's because yesterday we saw this. Market dumped, we formed an inverse head and shoulder, then we had a nice pump. Today we dumped a lot harder. There was a bigger dump today. We formed an inverse head and shoulder right down here. Now the market's trying to pump, getting close to our resistance at 448. We're going to be watching how it tests around there. We're going to be seeing if the market could trade sideways around there or not. This is going to be very important, so make sure you watch this resistance. I'm not expecting it to break above this like too hard and just start flying to 450. That would be a little bit surprising, but if we do hold above it, there is potential for it to get to 449. I think it's just going to test this and then start to remain kind of sideways from there, maybe chop around a bit. And that's what tends to happen during the final hours approaching CPI. So please be on the lookout for that. And just know that a big day is coming tomorrow and we're going to be watching for the tests. Looking at Tesla, even Tesla came down lower than what I was expecting. It came down to 242. Got a bounce, forming this, once again, another inverse head and shoulders like pattern. It's kind of slanted right over here. It's trying to push its way up. We're testing our 50 EMA at 245. If it breaks this, I could see Tesla approaching this resistance right here. 246.5 is going to be our next level. Tesla's very tight as well. So we're going to be watching to see if Tesla could break above the 50 EMA. It's going to be testing this resistance. I think there's a good chance it's going to try to break above this and get closer to about 246.5. But for now, just watch these levels. I don't expect Tesla to come flying up like insanely hard. I know it wanted to come to like these imbalances, but once again, it's just not going to reach, and most likely. But it will make an attempt to break out. We could see it get a little bit closer to about 246.5. If not breaking that, could lead it to about 247.5. But like I said before, I mean, I'm not expecting a crazy amount of volatility for Tesla just yet. We're just going to be watching resistance, for the time being. For Aapl was crazy. It came down very hard today. It was very oversold. Came down to 177 for getting a small bounce, and now it's trying to push its way towards this 179 resistance. If it manages to break that, 179.41 is a possibility, followed by 180. For the triple Q, it came down pretty hard as well. It's about 367, so just below 368. Got a nice bounce. Now it's trying to push for 370. If it holds above that, I'm not going to rule out the 200 EMA test at 371.1. So that's going to be another possibility if we manage to hold. So watch that very carefully. For Nvda, one of the things I mentioned to you guys is that in the morning it looked kind of bearish, but I was looking for it to try to hold above 440. It ended up sinking below that and came down a lot lower than what I was expecting to. And then we would have had to watch the next levels on this thing. So these are the levels to really watch for. So it technically came down to support I had marked previously, but I didn't really predict it to happen like this. After getting a really big rug pull, one thing I did call out though was that this pattern that it had tends to be more bearish. I just wasn't counting on this to play out because of the market. I thought the market would try to hold up a little bit better. Turns out it didn't really play out that way. And when things like this happen, it is what it is. It's part of trading. We're not always going to get everything right. But when you look at Nvda, this whole pattern was looking kind of more like distributive on the 4-hour time frame. So like right here, you can see it. And then this is what led to more downside. So I was correct about this pattern looking more bearish. It's just that it didn't go the way I thought it would for today specifically. But we're trying to get a bounce right now on the video, getting a bounce off previous support. And we're actually approaching this 436 area as resistance. This is going to be the next level to watch for if we get above 431. That's going to be the next critical resistance. If it gets above 436, you're going to be watching 440 as possibilities for Nvda. I think it's going to approach 436 at the very least. It's trying to curl right now on the MACD, trying to turn a little bit more bullish on the 30 minutes time frame. We're going to be watching for this test. We need to break above at 431 first, but I think there's a good chance it's going to make its way up to higher levels. It's trying to curl at least for the time being after becoming very oversold. And finally, if you want to look at a couple of other tickers like Meta, it came down to our support all the way down to 302 before getting a bounce. And now we're watching 309 again. Break above this and hold it. We're going to be watching 310 as our next level. That's going to be very important. If it manages to break above this 309 to 310 resistance, I'm going to be watching 312.5. I think it's going to be testing 310 very soon. And then for Amazon, not that great in terms of price action, came down to about 137, trying to curl right here. So we're going to be watching 138.96 as the next level. I think there's a real possibility of that being tested because the dollar is starting to curl the opposite direction. It got a small pump in the morning. You could see how it pumped all the way up to about 102.8. It's been downtrending since. And now the dollar is getting very, very tight. If it does continue to break down, you'll be watching 102.3 as the next level. It looks like it's getting very close to that. So for now, we're going to be watching these resistance levels on the markets. The market is trying to hold up a lot better than before. I don't think the market's going to just like come tanking down into close. I think it's going to hold very close to these levels. And we basically had a very similar day to day relative to yesterday. But please remember, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow because it's CPI day. Who knows what CPI is going to bring? And because of that, it is what it is. We don't always know what's going to happen, so manage risks accordingly. And just know it's okay to take profits if you have to, not financial advice. All right, have a great day, everyone. Get ready for CPI. We'll talk more about this tomorrow and break down some hypothetical possibilities. And I just want to warn you guys in advance, CPI comes out and you won't have a chance to exit your positions in the morning. It's going to come out before the market opens tomorrow. All right, thank you. Have a great day. The market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.